What's up, folks? I'm going to have another little tackle tip video for you here. This time we're going to talk about glide baits. I know this is something that's been around for some of y'all for quite a while. Y'all been tinkering with them for a while, but a lot of people are really just starting to get into this. They're just starting to catch on to the fact that you can catch some of your bigger bags with these baits. There's certain times of year that it works better than others, but really there's not a time of year that you can't throw a glide bait and get a bite. Again, there's better times of years than others, but where do you start? I mean, a lot of these baits are going to be running you up in the 50, 100, a couple $100 range. If you start getting into the specialty baits, you're looking at 500 to, potentially $1,000 even for some of these baits. Like the Hinkle shad, that's hard to find. Maybe $1,000, a little bit crazy, but my point is you can spend a lot of money on some of these baits and more than what your rod and reel that you're throwing with in a lot of the cases. So where do you start? And that's what this video is all about. So if you're trying to figure out where to start with glide baits, stay tuned. This video is for you. That's right. If you're going to get started, I think you're going to start with something that is a mass reproduced bait, something just like this Storm Arashi glide bait. This is what I started with. I immediately started picking up fish on it. It's got really good components and hooks to it. This bait's put really well together. You're not going to catch one fish on this bait and it's going to blow it out, and you're not going to catch any more fish on it. And this thing comes at a really nice price point. I want to say these things are in the $30 range. I don't recall exactly the retail on it, but I want to say they're in the $30 range. And that's really relatively cheap. It's actually very cheap when you're talking about a bigger glide bait like this. This is I think this is a 7-inch bait, 6-inch or 7-inch. But anyways, it's a good sized glide bait. It's a really good starting size glide bait. And you can see by the rash marks on it, it gets chewed up pretty well and the fish love it. And I think that's really where you're going to want to start. You feel free to go out and get some of these locally made baits. You're typically going to pay more for them, and unless the company is credible and you have some buddies that can recommend, hey, these baits are well tuned, I don't recommend going out and buying a bait from someone that's off Facebook or just someone you come across at a show or just some random person at a store. At the end of the day, I'm not saying, again, those baits can't be well tuned and perform well, but you're going to get better bang for your buck out of these, and they're going to be a lot cheaper in a lot of cases. Another option would be something like this Shimano Armajoint. This is running you a little more expensive. I think this is more in the $60 range if I recall. But this is made by Shimano, same Shimano company that makes bicycles and then also makes all of our fishing gear that we love. They make fishing baits and they make some really good ones if you don't know about it. The technology in these, this flash boost technology really just puts off a nice shine in the water. It definitely triggers more bites. Again, really good components on this guy, and you're not going to have to really do anything with this out of the box. No tuning, no changing of any kind of hooks. It's just ready to go. Another option and a more recent option that a lot of people are looking for is this Chad Shad by Spro. This guy as well has got really good components. I've heard there's some variations on the sink rate on this. I haven't experienced that myself, but a buddy of mine that's really experienced in swim bait fishing and glide bait fishing especially is telling me that. So keep your eye out on that stuff. I think that could be with any of these baits. There might be some variation. But this is another really good starting bait. I know it draws really big fish. I've used it one time out in a lake, and I've seen some really big followers. Didn't get any takers yet, but that was only one experience in a couple hours. So that's another good option. And then, 6 Sense, of course, they make some of the better baits here in the Americas. This draw right here, this is a 9-inch glide bait. It's a big profile bait. You're going to be getting some of your bigger bites. Of course, if it's 6 Sense, it's going to have really good components to it out of the box. You're not going to have to do any tuning to this bait, and you're going to catch a lot of big fish on it. It has no rash marks because this is a brand new one that I just bought and I need to go use. One thing I would recommend, you can tie directly to these, but you notice the Storm Arashi actually comes with this little split ring on the end. or this little clip on the end. I recommend putting one of those G Finesse clips as well, or whichever clip that you feel comfortable with on this. It's going to really enhance the action of the bait. So if that doesn't come out of the box on the bait, I recommend it. You see the Shimano Arma joint, same thing that comes with that out of the box. They do that because it really helps with the wobble of the bait, the wag to it. It gets a lot better back and forth motion. This is another Arashi in another color. So you can see there's a lot of different color schemes out there to go with. And then something that's not, especially a glide bait, but, one that you can treat like a glide bait, or some of these more multi-jointed baits. The Shimano Arma joint's in that same range because, as you can see, it's got 3 joints to it. So you can either just straight reel that one or chop it. Same thing with this guy right here. This is another 6 cents bait. You can see that it has the clip on the end of it. That's going to help with the action of the bait. This is a Trace by 6 cents. This guy, you can chop this, you can straight reel it, but another really good gliding type option. Ben Milliken puts a really cool video out there where he modifies this first joint right here. He actually makes it a little wider with a little grommel, or I forget exactly what he uses, but anyways, he cuts down this joint and makes it a little more of a wide open joint, and he gets a lot better action out of this bait. So you can modify these out of the box baits, and I would feel better doing that out of a bait that's mass produced than one that a guy is spending a lot of time and energy and effort tuning himself, and then you go and mess with it some more. So that's kind of another con, I would say, to buying a bait from someone else. For me, at least, I'd feel a little more apprehensive about making modifications to it. To these guys right here, I'm going to make mods to them all day, and I'm going to feel okay about it, so I can go buy more if I happen to mess it up, or if I just don't like specifically what I've done, or if I want different variations. So I think that'll give you all some other good options. There are some smaller options out there. This here is another 6 cents bait. This is a Speed Glide. This is one, again, you can reel or you can fast chop it. Again, I'd recommend putting the little clip on the end of there. You're going to get a little better action out of that. But you can go with smaller profile glides as well. So if you don't want to throw these big baits, if you don't have rods for it, or maybe you just don't feel comfortable, or you don't want to throw a big bait around all day, you don't have to do that. So just know that there's smaller options out there. And I think that really kind of covers your basis for starting points. There's a couple of good options out there by Storm, by Spro, by 6 cents. There's a lot of other options out there that I didn't cover in this video. Go do your own research, look at forums, and kind of look around. But the whole point of this video really is the fact that you don't have to go out there and go buy a couple $100 glide bait to have success or to get started. Really for a couple $100, you can get started with a variety of options. I mean, what I showed you right there was a couple $100 worth of lures. So nothing crazy on the financial side. And you can get really crazy with it if you want to. I mean, go out there and buy you a Hinkle shad. I think those are like $650 or whatever those are. But I don't recommend doing that on your first glide bait unless you just have the finances for it. Maybe that's just your deal. You like fancy stuff. I get it. But not my recommendation for the everyday person or someone that's just trying to figure out glide bait fishing. So if y'all have any questions, as always, y'all can put them in the comments. I'm happy to answer any questions y'all may have. I have a lot of resources myself, so if I don't have the answer, I'll go out and do my best to get it for you. If you could please put a thumbs up on this video if you enjoyed it, make a comment. That always helps with trending the video. And as always, if you haven't subscribed, we really appreciate you to subscribe so you can stay tuned for more content and some of my fishing adventures as well. So guys, really appreciate the support. Stay tuned and stay fishing.